Hey everyone. Happy Sunday. It's not Saturday night, it's Sunday night. Thank you for being here tonight. So figured we chat about this Mosul orb, but let's see who's in the live chat. Um, hey Brian. Brian, I owe you a text. I'm sorry. All of that fell by the wayside. Doug, hey, nice to see you back here. Brian says, coming in blind tonight. Never heard of the Mosul orb and didn't Google it. Okay, very cool. And I just kicked my camera. So give me a moment. Oh, my lighting is a little hot, but I don't want to touch it because I'm afraid everything's going to go wrong with it. So we will leave it there. Hi, Ada. Thank you for coming back. Dr. Ray is also in the house. Thank you guys for being here tonight. So yes, the Mosul orb is like the newest piece of government sanctioned UFO news. Is that the way we're going to put it? Is that the nice way of putting things? Hey, Corey. Love the new hairstyle. Oh, thank you so much. This is like my usual length. And it just had gotten, neglected, abandoned. I just the past few months from summer onward. So it's nice to be short again. So thank you. I appreciate that. So let's see what's going on tonight. Hey, Clintrons. Hey, Drix. Thanks, guys, for being here in the chat. I'm excited to talk about the Mosul orb. It's fascinating because, like I said, it's like government sanctioned UFO news, which always kind of gives me a pause for many reasons, as I'm sure it will give most of you guys pause. I'm trying to figure out where to start. I'm like, do I want to chat first with the live chat or do I want to hop into it? But I'm going to go back and forth with the live chat. I see people are coming in. I see the numbers going up. So we'll just go back and forth. Corey, yeah, you feel me? Yeah. I mean, it's been a weird 3 years or whatever. I don't know. I think a lot of our lives have changed. It's like I feel like I don't get dressed up and go out anymore like I used to be, like I used to do a lot. I think you fall into these patterns, which is I think what they want out of us. I always say it's like a reprogramming, a reset out of us, and it kind of, I'm like, are we letting them win by changing our lifestyle and the things that we do? Because, they talk 15-minute cities, so they want us to stay in place and not do things. And am I letting them win? But I don't know, man. I don't want to go out and interact with people anymore. People are intolerable. So I just been outside. I'm in the sun. When it's nice, I'm like, who cares about a haircut? Let me put my hair in a ponytail. And then I got stuck in that mode all winter. So yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to be human again. Is that how we can fight the great reset, by being what we used to be, dressing up and doing and going places? I should go to the movies again. Went to the movies once last year. That is so unlike me. So I know, right? It's like, what do we do to fight against them? Because it's always like, we got to do the opposite of what they want. But what is the opposite? Then I don't know. So I'm cycling through all these ideas in my head regarding that. Yes, they have. I just hang out in basketball shorts and tank tops like it's 2008. Oh, very nice. Okay. Harkening back to high school style. Is that it? No, but I know what you mean. It's like it's so much easier just to settle into this new life that they've kind of set up for us. Because in one way, it seems like, okay, nice. We've simplified our lives. We've gotten, I don't know, a lot of us have different priorities now, and I feel like a lot of our priorities are closer to home, which becomes traditional in a way. But then I'm like, does it kind of play into the whole 15-minute city thing? That concept, small walkable cities where everything is just, that there's no traveling going on, that they're keeping us contained. So I'm like, what is it? I don't know. So Brian says, we win when we adapt to our comfort level, not theirs. Yeah. And you know what? I'm okay. This is cool. All the close to home stuff. But it just makes me second guess sometimes, because I'm like, well, I'm staying contained. They want us contained. And already where I live in a county that's a suburb of New York City, and everything is close. Like, you know what I mean? Like we balk at a at a 20-minute drive because we're used to having everything on hand. So I'm like, okay, we kind of do live like that in a way. But like I feel like things for a lot of us in this region have become even more contained. And like you said, okay, cool. It's our comfort level, but I'm like, how much of that is also playing into what they want? So it's just it's kind of this wrestling back and forth. Um, Oh, you have a very strange high cold tolerance. You see, I don't like I have a love-hate relationship with the cold. Like, if it's cold out, I wanna be cold when I sleep, but I will not go outside in shorts. I don't like being outside in the cold. So, the cold is good, though. The cold is healthy. The cold boosts your immune system. Hey, Tin Top, and hey, Lit. Thanks for being here tonight, guys. Thanks for coming back. So, alrighty, so I guess I will hop into the topic at hand. So we're going to be talking about the Mosul orb. So we, I don't want to say we've gotten into disclosure. Are we in the era of disclosure? Have we been in disclosure? But it's not real disclosure. It's whatever they want to feed to us, and then you take it with a grain of salt. That whatever the government reveals as UFOs, they've been feeding us these little bits, little by little. And of course they're not showing us the big things. They're not showing us what's in the dumbs. They're not showing us what other experiments they're doing. They're just like, oh, look, here's this strange unidentified things, and then they hope the public is like cool with it. Like, here we are satisfying your curiosity. Look how wonderful we are giving you this information. Meanwhile, it's just a blurry video. And everybody's been talking about disclosure and the age of disclosure. No, we're never going to get full disclosure. Absolutely not. So you wonder these incentives of this UFO info that they've kind of been dripping, to us little by little by little. And it started, what was it, back in maybe 2019? Or 2020, we had that original video by the Pentagon, I think, of some planes. Was it following something? And then we would see some other videos little by little. Now, I can't remember, forgive me, but I can't remember if these videos were first leaked and then the government confirmed it, or if the government had released it. But whatever, it was the first time in our history that they pretty much admitted to the fact that we don't know what these things are. And again, it was that famous video I think everybody saw a few years ago of the fighter jets following something in the clouds. And also a little bit of disclosure came through those COVID bills, one of Trump's COVID bills, of course, because those are so full of everything. You don't even know what's in there. They had they had a hint of disclosure in there saying, okay, we'll have to disclose some of this info. And it's like, is this their way of throwing us a bone because of all the other pork in there? I can't even begin to decipher what those intentions were. And so, we've just steadily been having the government just acting like this is now a normal thing, that we have all these UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon is now what they call them. They don't call them UFOs. So, we're in this new age of where it's acknowledged and like, here's this is not any tech we know of on Earth. Maybe it could be some other country, but it's beyond any capability that we know. But we're just going to call it mysterious, unexplained circumstances. It's unidentified aerial phenomenon. That's pretty much our government's stance at the moment, the United States government, if you are an American. And so now the latest piece of this is the Mosul orb. So this is the first government released UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, as US government likes to call it now. And it's the first that's been released, the first image that's been released in a conflict zone. Now, from stories we've heard, we know that these things exist everywhere, that anywhere there's military activity, these things show up, that these are always in conflict zones. But this is the first time that it's basically official. And here's this image from the US government. So there was a spy plane flying the way they fly. What is it like? I don't know how many thousands of feet in the air. I believe it was a drone, and it was flying over Mosul, Iraq, doing whatever surveillance that they do in these conflict areas. And they captured a metallic orb flying alongside this spy plane, like underneath it, and it wasn't dropping altitude. It was just steadily going on, and it was a metallic orb. It was a ball, and they captured it in a 4-second video. But what was released was not so much. No, they didn't release the video at all. They released a still from the video, which I will show you, and it's just a metal ball, metallic ball. So let me pull that up right now. Let me screen share that. Okay. I just had it. I think this is it. Yes. Okay. So here's the Mosul orb. So this has just recently come out. It's been talked about by Jeremy Corbyn. I believe he has a new show with oh shoot, I forget the guy's name. But this is now the topic of conversation. There's not too much info out on it now besides what I spoke about. It was over a conflict zone. This is what it was. It wasn't dropping altitude, and it was following the US spy plane. Okay. And it's funny because and this is nothing new, the metallic orbs. These have been a thing for a long time. You know, we have cigar-shaped flying saucers. We have flying saucers that look like an actual saucer that's flying. We have the cigar-shaped objects. We have the V-shaped UFOs. We have pyramid shaped, every type of shape you can imagine. And these are one of the known shapes that do tend to show up a lot. And is this from 2016? Brian asked. I believe so. Actually, you're right. Yeah, I think this was not recent, but it was just recently released. Or unless just recently confirmed. Maybe this is floated around, but right now the big thing that just happened was the government confirmed, yep, this is what it was. This was flying alongside of this, and we don't know what it is. So they're like, we do not know the origin. We don't know. This is unexplained, and they released it. It's funny because you know what this does remind me of? It reminds me of, let's see. Take a guess, guys, what I'm going to pull up. What does that orb remind you of? Okay. Do I see any guesses? This is what it reminds me of. You guys remember this? Okay. I don't think they called it anything in the movie besides a metal sphere, but I'm sorry, my brain automatically goes to the Phantasm sphere. And I've only seen one Phantasm movie, but I believe it's in all of it. But the second I see the metal orb, that's what I think about. Oh, Flight of the Navigator. Okay. I vaguely remember seeing a picture of it from Flight of the Navigator. I guess my brain goes to Phantasm because that's the one I've seen. So my brain goes to Phantasm. So just something a little silly I wanted to pull up. But it's interesting because there wasn't much to go along with it. It's just like, okay, here this is. And this is what it was. And to me, it's like, what is the purpose of even doing that in the first place? And everything they're dropping, like, it's kind of useless. Like, yeah, we know these things are in the sky. So what is the point of the government confirming, yeah, we don't know what it is? Thanks. Yeah, we don't know either. So it doesn't add to anything. It doesn't contribute. So I find it a little silly, but I also find it intentional when you think about that. I feel like it's a priming. If little by little they drop it into the public consciousness, then it's not going to be such a shock. Everybody's going to be used to the idea of the UFO phenomenon, which can become pretty sinister. But we'll get to that in a moment. Tin Top says, all I have to say from the jump is they are telling us to look up. We should be looking down. There hasn't been accounts of objects. Hasn't there been accounts of objects flying into and out of the oceans? And that was the next one. Yes, that was the next thing I was going to get to. And it's interesting because, okay, flying metal orb, that bears a striking resemblance to the USS Omaha footage that got leaked. I believe it was leaked by Jeremy Corbyn. So the USS Omaha footage was some naval ship. Forget what kind of ship it was. Was it a battleship? I don't know. I haven't played Battleship in a long time. But on the ship, they were observing this thing flying alongside the ship, again, a metal ball. But the interesting thing about this was it didn't just fly alongside, it dipped into the water. And so they called it a transmedium UFO because it went from being a UFO, unidentified flying object, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and then turned into a USO. It dipped into the ocean. And what they noticed was it didn't just dip into the ocean, but it really smoothly transitioned into like, submarine. It didn't just like crash and sit in the ocean or whatever, or didn't just sit there. This is annoying me. It actually went into the water and then started navigating it as if it was a underwater object all along. And they sent a submarine looking for it. Never found it, but we have a little bit of footage on that, so I'm going to pull that up too. Let's see. Where did I put that? Okay, I forgot. I have to mute my mic in order for it to. Okay. So I think, okay. Trying to get the audio right on this. Give me a moment.
We want to return to the encounters of July 2019. Several naval warships, including the USS Omaha, are conducting exercises off the coast of California. For days, they report being tailed by drone-like objects at night. And now, at 11 p.m. on July 15th, the Omaha is about to record some of the most compelling video of the modern UFO era.
Took off. Booking it.
This leaked footage, obtained by filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, comes from inside the ship's Combat Information Center. It shows a sphere-like object flying near the ship in windy and choppy conditions.
Break Omaha, pick me kid, Rafael Peralta, pass ability to launch Hilo ASAP.
Whoa, it's getting close.
This is happening the same month the Green Pyramid footage was shot on board the USS Russell, another ship participating in these exercises. The Omaha is concerned enough to prepare to launch a helicopter when the object appears to dive into the ocean.
What was splashed? Mark bearing and range.
Unconfirmed reports say the Omaha and a nearby submarine proceeded to search the water for signs of the object, but found nothing. The crucial element in this video is the plunging into the ocean, classifying this as a so-called transmedium UFO, an object that appears to possess amphibious capabilities. In other words, a USO, an unidentified submerged object.
This is a belief based on data, based on what other nations.
All right. So interesting thing. So it's kind of like there's a similar thing happening. Okay. We see a metallic orb following military asset, right? First time it was following a spy plane or a drone or whatever it's called. Second time it was following, I guess, that naval ship. Right? Very, very interesting. And apparently there must have been submarines in the area because they sent a local submarine to go out searching for it. So these things tend to appear in the presence of military objects. Okay. So which is, you can look at that in a couple of different ways. Okay. I feel like you could look at that as, is the military hoaxing us? Because it always happens to be near something military, there's a military base, there's, whatever military asset, so it's easy to maybe somehow fake something. Why would they fake something? Okay, so that they can bring about Project Blue Book. I'm not saying all UFO sightings are fake, but I'm saying the ones that the government is feeding us, the ones that are supposedly leaked from the government, they're following certain patterns, which makes me wonder, it makes me suspicious. Or are these things trying, or are they curious about us? You know, there's some people that want to claim, which I think is a little silly, oh, they come in peace and they don't want us to destroy ourselves. So that's why they appear in conflict zones, and that's why they appear near military assets, near military bases. They're trying to warn us. They're trying to save the world. No, I don't buy into the whole the extraterrestrials are coming to save humanity. Absolutely not. No. Okay. But I look at it as also this other possibility. You know, we talk about the Grayada Treaty, which is okay, we will let you abduct our people. In exchange, you give us technology. So of course these things are then going to be hanging around the military, because there's been a lot of people who get abducted who report that, oh, when I was abducted, when I was taken into these facilities, there was American military in there. So apparently they're working together. But let me catch up with this chat for a moment. Oh, thank you, Rush. About to call you Rush. Thank you, Russ. That's really kind of you. I appreciate that. And how do we know more about orbs than Satoshi? Maybe, I don't know. I'm like, does Satoshi even exist? Is Satoshi? What if Satoshi is an alien? But no, it's true. All right, you would think, but or is that a testament to some of the privacy in the crypto world? I don't know. But I like that. I like the way you think there. Oh, thank you, Dr. Ray. Hey, Bearded Saint. Yeah, I guess that's the way of the modern times, right? Hey, Hexwood. You know, you wonder, when I say a military hoax, I don't believe that all UFOs are hoaxes, but military hoax to bring about some other future plan for us. Unidentified flying objects identified as submerged all the time. Oh, I gotcha. I see where this is going. All right. Ada, bringing up one of my favorite ones, the Gulf Breeze sightings. Okay, let's see. In Gulf Breeze, Florida, they were flying into the Pensacola Bay. These occurrences happened so often that people would bring beach chairs and watch the show. Big Naval Flight School in Pensacola. Yes. Okay. Again, same thing. What is attracting them to the military bases? And again, don't give me that BS that they're going to try to save humanity and that's why they're trying to stop the military. I'm thinking that's a sign of whatever agreement they have going on. So they're working together. They're working in tandem. There's people that talk about being part of, other government experiments, other ritualistic abuse in these government organizations, these dark-sided government organizations. And they talk about being whisked away overnight while they were sleeping, and they were able to be in some other state, in a very short amount of time. Well, what kind of technology does it sound like is abducting them out of their room and whisking them off to another government facility? Is it these entities working in conjunction with our military, or is it the military using the tech that they got from these entities? It's interesting. Yeah, and I love the Gulf Breeze site. You know what? I have to do a show on Gulf Breeze sightings. I want to reread the book first, but that's also very interesting because supposedly it was hoaxed. That they found that Ed Walters, who photographed the Gulf Breeze sightings, and it was validated by a lot of UFO researchers. So these photos aren't hoax. He didn't mess around with the negative. He did not mess around with the camera. Everything looks good. Everything looks all right. But interestingly, he moved out and people were like, oh, we found the models in the attic that he used to hoax these pictures. Apparently the Gulf Breeze sightings was all a big hoax. Now, I'm sorry, but if you did this big hoax that became known around the world, wouldn't you be very careful and not leave your models behind in the attic? I mean, that seems silly, or at least destroy your models or something. I don't think Ed Walters would be that clumsy. So if he revealed to the world what was happening near the Pensacola Naval Air Station, and maybe the military wasn't too happy, you can kind of plant a hoax in somebody's attic and be like, oh, all of that, it was all fake. Look what he left behind. Look at this jerk. He just wanted money and attention. So there's always something. There's always something more to it, I feel like. But I'll save that for another time. That deserves its own show. But also I wanted to jump back to the Pentagon reports, because now we get the Pentagon reports because you government is supposedly cool with feeding us this information, my opinion, potentially bogus information about UFOs now. So the new one of the new Pentagon reports says that there has been a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, and half of those sightings remain unexplained or require further analysis. And they require further analysis because they show unusual flight characteristics and performance abilities. So the Pentagon is saying, okay, out of all this, we've had a dramatic increase in sightings. Half of them are explained as whatever, a plastic bag, a weather balloon, swamp gas, whatever it may be. And the other half is we don't know. You know, it's a UAP. Okay, because UAP is unidentified phenomenon. So the Pentagon now has these reports and they're putting this info out, and it is interesting because I do believe that. I do believe there's been an increase in sightings because it seems like everywhere you turn online, people are now putting up videos of, look at this strange thing I saw here, look at this strange thing I saw there. And yeah, you looking at them, you can debunk a lot of them. Oh, that's CGI. Oh, that's clearly a searchlight. This is that. But there's a lot that make no sense. And I feel like I'm seeing so much more than I've ever seen before online. And it's like, well, am I just following the right accounts? But it seems like more than that. I'm like, is it a trendy thing to post UFO videos? No. I mean, iPhones, and even before that, camera phones have existed a while, and people sharing things on the internet has existed a while. But all of a sudden we've had this huge blow up, this huge increase in UFO sightings. And you could say, well, maybe now the government talking about it is bringing more awareness to people, because it's interesting. There are Congress members that say, oh, we are taking a step in the right direction because we are reducing the stigma. All these UFO reports are great because they reduce the stigma in reporting sightings. Why does the government even care about what the stigma is in sightings? To me, that's a weird thing for the government to care about. So to me, there's like an agenda play. Okay, so they want people to be more comfortable with sightings and not hiding their stories about sightings. So they want people talking. They want people sharing things. Why do they want people sharing things? What bearing does it have on anything when they have their own investigations that they don't tell us about? Why is there such an interest in getting the public on the same side and getting the public to acknowledge things and taking away the stigma from the public? Nothing the government does is altruistic. They're not trying to help humanity by making us okay with things and not fearful. There's something more at play. They're plotting something. They're planning something. Yeah, exactly, Russ. Like, oops, you forget your models from your worldwide hoax in the attic when you move. I'm sorry, that seems silly, right? Hey, Torin. Oh, and Crypto Journeyman, thank you guys for being here tonight. It's very, very weird to me, and I keep saying that, but you all know how I feel about when the government tries to do nice things. Like, what? They never do nice things unless there's something in it for them. So, I'm like, do they really care how we feel about UFOs? No, they want us to be okay with it. Why did they want us to be okay with it? And some people are like, well, because maybe an invasion's really happening and we're really going to go in this direction. And they just want us to be comfortable so that we don't freak out. Again, that becomes altruistic because, or it could become selfish because then they don't have to worry about people rioting and freaking out when the aliens come. Right. But I don't look at it like that either. Okay. I look at it as Project Bluebeam, really. I think Project Bluebeam makes a ton of sense. Yeah, exactly, Ada. So many lights now look as large as the Phoenix Lights. Like the Phoenix Lights stuff, like that is the norm. I mean, first of all, in the 80s and 90s, that was the norm in the Hudson Valley of New York. But now, all the time, constant reports of sightings. See, we have an increase in sightings, and we have the government caring about reducing the stigma. Okay. And then we have the government showing us, look, there are these things and we don't know what it is either. To me, it's all lining up to It's all lining up for something sinister. And I'm a big believer in the fact that Project Bluebeam is a thing. Okay. I believe, if anyone's not familiar, Project Bluebeam, that's the idea of like the government staging an alien invasion through whatever means necessary. I haven't seen the new White Noise movie. But I remember reading it for college, or we were supposed to read it. Remember everybody reading it, me reading bits and pieces, but also mostly listening to the discussion. And the concept of this, if I'm remembering correctly, the concept of this White Noise book was there was this airborne toxic event and everybody has to flee, but nobody's actually really saw the toxic event. And people are like, well, is this real or is this staged to get us to leave this area for some reason? And there's that debate of it that happens in that book. Hopefully I'm paraphrasing that correctly. And so I look at it that way. I'm like, okay, well, they can stage an airborne toxic event type thing in the sense of they can fake it on the television. They can just spread a rumor and everybody stay inside, but nobody actually really saw it because it's all hearsay and it's the government telling you that it really happened, right? There's one way. But really Project Bluebeam is really the concept of a staged alien invasion that comes through projecting, like a holographic projection of an invasion. We've seen some of their holographic capabilities. We've seen like bits and pieces, like when didn't they have like ABBA tour around and it's like young ABBA and it was a holographic projection. And then there's some concerts, is it like those Grateful Dead type concerts where they'll like project whales and things in the air and the stuff looks really good and that's just like that's on the consumer level. So I'm like, what would it be on the government capability level? So people believe that there's this idea of the government will stage an alien invasion and they will hoax it and they will do it through projections in the sky. So that's Project Bluebeam, or stage the return of Christ through holograms, and they'll do it as a means of control. How? Well, apparently they seem really obsessed with locking us down, right? They had a lot of fun with it a few years ago and they always seem ready to lock us down again. And then they talk about climate lockdowns. And you know what? People are going to be really angry and resistant if we get locked around again. Oh, but hey, projecting alien invasion in the sky and say, you got to stay in to stay safe. Do not leave. Do not do what you got to do. But do not go outside or else those aliens in the sky will get you. Think of V 2009, how the ships just came into the sky and parked over the cities. If they did holographic projections, you wouldn't have people protesting and freaking out about being locked down. People will panic and people will lock themselves down. So to me, they seem to be priming us. It's a priming. It's a getting used to the thing so that, it would totally make sense when the alien invasion gets holographically projected. Let me hop back to the chat. Let's see. Sorry, catching up. Okay. There we go. David Paulides, his new movie at most places like Prime, Missing 411, the UFO Connection. Oh, awesome. And awesome that it's in Prime. We don't have to go and buy it. I mean, not that we don't want to show support, but it's nice to get to sample it, and then if we want to buy it or even just stream it, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. I keep hearing that name. I really need to look into him. And at the foundation of it all is the systematic and persistent dissuasion from a biblical worldview. Yes. Oh, 100%. Because I believe that a huge intention of Project Bluebeam would be to lock people down. But also, yeah, exactly. Look, aliens are real. And you know what? It was directed panspermia. They seeded us here on the earth. And they're actually the creators of humanity. Oh, throw away your religion. There's no more religion. It's this one cosmic religion. We're all together and let's worship the aliens. You see that there's a ton of different directions it could go with. And then but basically it also comes down to control. Easiest way to control a mass population is through fear. Look what they've done to everybody. Look how fearful people still are. I mean, I was in the store and there was a woman in front of me wearing 3 paper masks, one over the other. Besides the fact that that's not healthy from the off-gassing and the plastic fibers that are coming off of it. I'm like, what kind of fear is in people? And look, 3 years in, the people are still doing that when we know they don't work like that. Oh, I know. Why do surgeons use it? Because it's droplet protection when they're talking to their other people. So when they, they talk, all the spittle isn't falling into the open chest cavity that they're operating on. Yes, it works wonderful for a surgeon. But I'm sorry, shopping in TJ Maxx, you're that scared, stay home. But look at what fear does to people. I'm not going to turn that into a mask rant, but I'll be good. So, if you want to hear some fascinating theories about Bigfoot, David Paulides covers it. Oh man, I gotta check him out. Like I said, I keep hearing about him. I'm very slowly working my way through all these recommendations, but I really, I've seen some. I've come across some people I really like L.A. Marzulli. Pretty cool stuff he talks about. I appear in this form so you won't fear me. Oh, are you talking about Project Bluebeam? Is that what they're gonna do? Or are you talking about you, Iowux? Is that your form that you appear in so we don't hear you? Did I miss the joke? Oh, I missed your comment, Lit. Look up what happens exposed when those disposable masks are placed over boiling water. Oh, is that I think I might have seen that, but I don't remember exactly what happens. But but even if you do believe that it's giving you some level of protection, these things off gas. Anything that like comes straight from a factory and is brand new, has chemicals on it, has off gassing. That's why you don't like when you buy clothes. That's why you don't put it on immediately. You need to wash the stuff off of it. So like masks do that. So you're constantly inhaling all of that garbage. And then look at the fibers that come off of that. So like, those are plastic based fibers most of the time, and you're inhaling it into your lungs. We are like in history, this is like the first time in history that they're finding microplastics in people's lungs. Gee, I wonder why. Yeah, I'm really getting into L.A. Marzulli. I want to watch his documentaries. He's got one on Fatima, the Our Lady of Fatima appearance. No offense to the Catholics here, but there are people that believe that was deception. And it's interesting because so he has a documentary about that, and because I look at it kind of in a similar way that I would to Project Bluebeam. But different type of deception. That was a long time ago. The government didn't have the capabilities. Talking demonic deception back then, but it's interesting. All your base are belong to us. Is that what the aliens say? Well, I mean, they're hanging around the military bases. Is that what they're trying to tell them? I come from the sun. You guys saw me back then. Okay. I think I'm missing something, but I hope the sun was a cool place. I'm not being mean. I just don't know what's happening. But yeah, so there's not too much to say about the Mosul orb besides just like, I think it just came out. They haven't given us much information beside that, but I felt like it would just be good for us to kind of just look at and talk about, because I think this is going to be happening more and more. They're going to be revealing more and more of this. And it's constantly the orbs lately. So I feel like we just need to see it and be aware so that when it, whatever comes next, we're already connecting the dots and we're ready for whatever they're telling us. Interesting. My family did have an experience with orbs when I was really little. I was pointing to the sky because I saw something really interesting. And when you're like one, you're like, oh whoa, things catch your attention. So I was pointing to something in the sky. My parents looked up, and it was a bunch of metallic orbs, just like this one. And they were flying in ways that was completely unnatural. And I was talking with my dad about it the last week, and he said, it was almost like they were in a cluster and they were radiating out from the cluster and then coming back in and then out and then in. But as they were doing that, they were flying along very quickly. So out and in and then just flying along. My parents said they were clearly metallic orbs. And my dad did fly planes in the military. So, he's familiar with what's normal phenomenon in the sky and what isn't. You know, but that was clearly, you don't even have to be in the military to know that that was weird. So that was something my parents both witnessed, and still to this day is like, you know, blows their minds of what they saw. But again, back to the orbs. And I wish I remembered, or I had the tweet on hand. It was a tweet that somebody, I guess, who knows Lou Elizondo or somebody connected to him had talked about. We know who flies this ship. We know who flies this ship, but we don't know who flies this ship. I think it was, they were saying, we don't know who flies the cigar-shaped ones. But now I need to find that tweet. Now I'm curious. Oh, okay. You see, I'm too young for that. That's why I don't know. I mean, I've played it casually, but I haven't spent a lot of time playing Space Invaders, so I didn't catch the joke. I'm sorry, Iowux. Okay, it's simple. The boy dreamt of a ball each night. It passed quicker and quicker. One night he caught it. So, okay. See, the joke went over my head. I guess you would have had to use a more modern video game. Because I'm like, oh no, somebody actually think they're an alien in here? Lots of orbs and fast-moving lights with Bigfoot sightings. Oh, you know what? I've heard some stories too about that people will like see Bigfoot and then all of a sudden they'll see something in the sky. I listened to a story from a Navajo park ranger, and I think he had talked about that because he was like basically for whatever reservation he was on, which was like some massive Navajo reservation, and he says we were like kind of the X-Files of it. They asked us to take these reports seriously, and we did. And, you know, talking about all these things that they would see. And I'm pretty sure it was him I heard talking about the connection that they would see, you know, Bigfoot, and they would see ships. They seemed to be some sort of tie to them together. Are you laughing at my ignorance of Space Invaders? I was scared at first when I took back into the ship, but then I realized there was Captain. Now I want to play Space Invaders, but like on an arcade machine. So, well, so I guess that's all I got to say on it. And I know I've talked about Project Bluebeam before, but like the more you hear about this, I'm like, yeah, clearly in the more UFO sightings I see, I'm like, clearly headed toward that. Something, you know, we're clearly headed towards some sort of big psyop. It seems like, you know. Is this moonshine I'm drinking or just water? We don't just water. Yeah, no. I know, right? It does look like it. County Fair drinking jar. I guess moonshine would be appropriate out of this jar. It's real what you mean, Space Invader. You don't play games, haha. Yeah. Guys are funny. So, what else is going on? How's it going with you guys? Are you on the same page? You think a psyop is coming UFO-wise? Right? I guess that would be considered a psyop. Or, I don't know, some people do believe that it's tied into the end of days too. Who knows? Or maybe the psyop is tied into the end of days. I don't know. But I'm like, all right, when's this psyop coming? Because it just keeps ramping up. More UFO sightings, more government acknowledgement, more videos. I'm like, all right, let's get to the psyop. Come on, lock us down again. But we'll be ready. We'll know what's going on. Yeah, the psyop is here. Makes you, oh yeah, I guess this would be part of the psyop, right? We don't have to wait for it to come. This is all part of it. This is the beginning part of it that launches it off. Weird. Strange Times. Wasn't that a TV show? Strange Times at Blake Halsey High. No one dared to show for that shower when nobody turned to be clean, was not even touched by the water, just a Nazi scheme. Is this still from Space Invaders? Because I again, this is before my time. You know, this is my parents' time. So, any other thoughts? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Because I think I'm good on the Mosul orbs. Like I said, there's not too much to talk about it. It's just just there. And I'm like, all right, what's the next? But I'm telling you, I think Phantasm, whenever I see that, because, you know, I guess because the movement's a little bit of blur at the sides, it reminds me of little spikes from Phantasm. Nobody reacted to Phantasm earlier. You guys have not seen Phantasm? I think that's very wrong. I think it's not a good thing. You got to watch it. It's not amazing, but I just feel like it's a part of movie history. A few years ago, I remember hearing that 2023 would be an alien, Black Swan event. Okay. So now we'll be ready. We know what's going on. None of us are going to believe it. Okay. That's interesting because you know what? You heard that a few years ago, and clearly all of a sudden they're ramping everything up. These past few years, especially with the alien stuff. No, I haven't watched anything on Gaia. I don't know. Something about Gaia. I mean, I've tried listening to their podcast. Something, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Something definitely doesn't grab me, but I've heard that there is some good stuff on Gaia. I just, yeah, I don't know. I can't get into it. But wait, so tell me, have you guys seen Phantasm? Well, the chat is quiet tonight. We got 17 people, but a quiet chat. Conditioning the woke. Yeah, everything seems like a conditioning now. It's really, you know, I feel like we're at this point of like, it's very Pavlovian, the way everybody's conditioned for everything. Okay, here, we're going to release footage, riot. And I'm not saying anything about the footage. I don't know enough about what happened, but I'm just saying, okay, we need a riot. Here's police footage of something bad that happened. But there's a lot of bad things that happen with police footage, but not all of it causes riots. So I'm like, okay. It's very Pavlovian. You know, whenever they want us to do something, they know our triggers. No, so you guys haven't seen it. Okay, gosh, I thought it was one of those movies that everybody saw, but maybe not. My local Alamo, I think, had an anniversary event. I'm like, I've never seen it before, and I went and I saw it. It was interesting. But I mostly just remember that metal ball in a mausoleum. Phantasm with the PH. So I'm going to spell it for you guys. Phantasm. Like, it's not the most amazing, but oh wait, Phantasm. What the heck? Phantasm. It's not the most amazing movie, but I kind of feel like it's, again, part of movie history. It's what I love about the Alamo. Like, kind of got to fill in my movie knowledge by things there, and they would have these wonderful introductions and have people talking about it. I think I got to see Joe Bob Briggs introduce something at the Alamo too. I didn't even know who he was until like way after the fact. I'm like, oh, I got to see him do an intro. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's different. A lot of new age stuff, but a lot of specific information collected about so many different alien races and star systems, most of it coming from channeling and such. Okay, maybe that's why I'm not into Gaia, because, you know, I can't remember. There was something that kind of turned me off from it. So maybe it was the new age and the channeling. Because unfortunately, the thing with channeling is it's not real. Okay, you know, in my belief and a lot of people's beliefs, it's not real because there's other people intercepting, other entities intercepting and lying. There's a lot of deception that happens in channeling. There's other people presenting themselves and misrepresenting and feeding false information. And that all these other entities are doing the same thing through channeling. So people think that they have confirmations happening, but meanwhile, it's like this intentional feeding of false information, and very dangerous spiritually. So whenever I hear, you know, I'm very wary, and that's probably why I didn't get to Gaia. You fell asleep in Fantasia, but Fantasia's cute. But you know what? Disney is not so cute anymore. I'm getting a little creeped out with Disney. My mom was the first to get creeped out, and I'm like, oh, now I get it. Everything kind of seems off. Oh, speaking of getting creeped out, Madonna's another one that creeps me out. Like, I used to really love Madonna. I've seen her live and all of a sudden, over the past couple of years, I can't handle her. Like she just really like unsettles me. I had to unfollow her on social media. And this concert tour that got announced, if it was a few years before, I would have been so excited, and I would have gotten my tickets. And now I'm so freaking freaked out and unsettled by her. So, no. Weird that a person can unsettle you. I keep touching this hair. Hold on, guys. Why does it just? Okay, close enough. Yeah, ton of deception happening. I'm guessing that's not from Space Invaders anymore. I do think there's something up with her now. I used to just think she was just like attention seeking. But all these things that are coming out now with the trafficking and the organizations, and just there's more to the picture than just being attention seeking. I'm like, she's just an old lady who needs attention. That's kind of okay, not that 60s is old, but when you start behaving a certain way and seeming desperate, you make yourself seem older than you are. But I'm like, gosh, she's just attention seeking and whatever. But I don't know. Like, when you just feel something in your gut, like it was weird. Like for me to feel that unsettled where I just had to unfollow everything. I don't even listen to her music anymore now. And I used to have so much fun with it. Here and there. There's still a few, Beautiful Stranger. I really do like that song. But I don't know. Yeah, definitely unfollow people. Yeah, that unsettle. Yeah, you know what? I'm starting to think more and more that that's the case with her, because it's just there's something more to the picture. And it's interesting now, everything coming out with this whole trafficking thing. And you know what, you have to the adoption agencies do have a certain responsibility in this thing, because and there's a lot of controversy with adoption in Africa. The kids are basically being sold, that adoption agencies are trafficking organizations, that these kids do have families, and somebody's profiting off of adoption fees and sending these kids to America and ripping them away from their families. So there's some major issues. Like I've heard stories about kids getting adopted in America and then telling their parents about their adoptive parents about their biological parents. And then the adoptive parents are like, whoa, we were told something completely different. And then investigating, and they're like, oh my gosh, you were stolen from your biological parents. So that's already a major issue in Africa. But these organizations with Madonna are claiming we didn't know these things about her. And if we knew, we wouldn't have been comfortable. I'm sorry, you had the internet. The internet existed when these kids were being adopted. So now they want to claim that we didn't know, and she is trafficking. I don't know. So there's something strange going on. There's a lot more to the picture. With her. But you know what? I heard she does that. A lot of stuff is filters. I've seen some pictures of her in real life, and she don't look too good. But I feel like we can't say that word anymore. Julio said it, and then he was dead. Okay, who am I? I'm not some big name person to get killed off, but I'm like, are they looking for these words online? Are we gonna get shot down? The page is the page gonna get turned off if they say this word, so I'm just avoiding it. But yeah. Oh, I get what you're saying. That the adoption agencies yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. They say that a lot of trafficking of children, a lot of missing children are tied into these type of things, that are tied into ritualistic abuse, that are tied into basically farming kids for things. I've heard that. I've also heard, and I think L.A. Marzulli spoke about it, but I heard somebody speaking to Daniel Duval about it, a woman who claims that she was part of the secret, what is it called? The Secret Space Force or whatever, Secret Space Agency. I forget what they call it. And she was saying that, yeah, a lot of those missing kids are off-world too. And I think L.A. Marzulli said something about that too. So there is something bigger going on with all the missing children in the world. Yeah. Well, that's that's what it's, I mean, that already adopted or sold. That's already a big issue in Africa. But now I feel like I hope this Madonna thing does shine a light on what's happening. And you know what is weird? Because she also made promises to the families that she adopted these kids from, but it kind of seems like, yeah, they sold these kids to her. These families like were still alive and thought and had trouble taking care of the kids for a time. And you know, we have that issue in the United States. The kids go into foster care. So, you know, so these African families are like, okay, well, yeah, for a few years, almost like they were sending a kid to foster care. Can you bring them back to visit? And then when they're a little older, you know, bring them back. So that was their agreement with Madonna. They thought they were getting their kids back, and it never happened. But creepy stuff. You were wondering if you call it. Yeah, you know what? I just didn't say it, but I'm fine with putting it on there. I mean, a lot of people talk about it, but no, it's interesting. There's you know, the child trafficking thing is something so dark once you start really thinking about it, because you know, it's kind of always just presented as kidnappings or runaways, but when you realize that a lot of kids have been disappeared because they're involved in some sort of ritualistic abuse, makes sense, because where else are these people going to get their victims? And apparently, you know, kids are high value for these reasons, for whatever rituals they're doing, for whatever they're farming from these kids. Gosh, and that whole wayfair thing, a lot of people, it sounded extreme, but a lot of people are believing that there might have been something to it. So, which is really, really disturbing when you really start thinking about it. Are they looking for these words? It's weird. It's I don't even know anymore. I feel like that there are certain things scouring, there are certain algorithm things, because I do notice that certain things that I post, sometimes, you know, if I say certain things, it'll get less hits. It's also very interesting because now Twitter shows the amount of views that you have. And lately, when I post other things, I get a decent amount of views when I make other tweets. But if I post a tweet with a link to my YouTube, it's like where typically I can get, you know, a couple thousand views on a tweet, like I'm getting 100 and something views on a tweet. So it's weird, you know. Is it the fact that Twitter does not want to link out of their website, or is it the content here that they're scouring, you know, that the internet is scouring and flagging? So who knows? Hey, human hex trafficker. Oh, we were talking about trafficking, just a different one, not hex. Yeah, exactly. They're always looking. If you are here, we're on a list somewhere. I know, right? I figured I was on a list long before I ever started talking about this stuff on a channel. I'm like, whatever we look up, yeah, we're you know, we're on a list. Titan Point in New York City. If you don't know Titan Point, you should look it up. That supposedly is scouring and storing data on us. That's one of those NSA facilities, and it could withstand a nuclear bomb strike. So I parked outside it, and it was like, oh, at night, very intimidated. It was one of the last outings I had before everything shut down. Isn't that funny, right? And I parked right outside Titan Point. Maybe I should pull up a picture to Titan Point. And Ada had an interesting question. Anyone preparing for what's ahead? Oh gosh, because clearly there is something up ahead, and it's like, where to run? Where can we go? But let me pull up Titan Point just for fun. Okay, Titan Point. Sorry, give me a moment. Oh, come on. Sorry, I'm trying to find. This is cool though. And I have my own picture somewhere. I should post it. Okay. Let's see. Chrome tip, Titan Point. There we go. Okay. So my first exposure to Titan Point was through the X-Files revival. Because man, these revivals are like I don't know, predictive programming. I don't know what the heck to call it. But so this is Titan Point. You see this building? It kind of disappears into the sky, right? It's not super lit. That's not an exaggeration. That's what it looks like. It's made to disappear into the sky. It's not lit up. It's quite a thing to see at night. They also call it the Long Lines Building in New York City. And supposedly it's what do they want to call it? It's like a phone, all the phone lines in the city go through there. And it has to be like that because it has to be super secured in case a bomb hits, in case of any type of disaster hits, so that we still have communication in New York City. Okay, that makes sense, right? I guess that was the original intention back in the day. Oh, interestingly, there's a few floors in there that the NSA owns and the government owns, and no one knows what goes on there. Well, wow, that's an interesting place to put an NSA facility because then you have access to all the phone lines. You have access to all the communication lines. I think fiber optics are in there too, right? Which our internet runs off of. So you have NSA in there where they can tap into anything that they want, and you can't break into this building. This building can't be destroyed. So this is the NSA's spy hub in New York City, and they say hidden in plain sight because a lot of people don't notice it. When I went into this party that I was at, where I parked outside of there, my last outing before lockdown, I had mentioned it, and my friends were like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was there." I said, "Yep, it's right there." Yeah, let me move down a little bit so you can kind of get an idea of it. Right? Look at this. Other buildings are lit up. This is just dark and it blends into the sky. Let's see. There we go. It's creepy. I don't know. I find that I don't know. Does it seem a little sinister? It's just creepy. But yeah, this is the Long Lines buildings. This is Titan Point. So AT&T was one of the companies that was there. But thought it was interesting. But anyway, that was Titan Point. Not that it has anything to do with it. I just wanted to show you guys what I was referring to. Let me stop this screen share. Just looking at Titan Point now reminds me of 123 Main Street in White Plains, the AT&T building made of gray slate. Yes. Except that one has windows, right? And I can't remember if it's still an AT&T building, but yeah, same concept, I guess, except that one in the city is massive because it needs to have all the communications for New York City in there. And conveniently, NSA is allowed to have offices in there. This shouldn't be allowed. Wait, the one in White Plains is supposed to be nuclear proof too? Okay, this is wild because I've driven by that so many times and I had no idea that that was its own mini Titan Point. So I'm just gonna catch up here. Oh, I missed, yeah, totally, bearded saint. The Bible says people won't be able to hide from things to come. They will want to, but yeah, but they won't. But isn't there a verse in Revelation? I'm not quoting it properly, but it's like where people they'll want death and death won't come to them. Like things would be so bad in that case. If I remember correctly, Madonna is a member OTO, Ordo Templi Orientis, founded by Aleister Crowley. Years ago, I watched an underground video of her initiation into the order. Oh, that just nauseates me. That's gross. When I saw her live. And she didn't have the courtesy to show up on time. She was an hour and a half late. And apparently that's the norm. Because I saw people complaining about this new tour. Let's talk about entitlement. Where they're like, yeah, I want to go see her. But they're like, I work the next day. I can't wait for her to come out at midnight. And the weird thing is, most venues have curfews. So I don't understand why she's allowed to break the curfew, or does she pay a fine and she doesn't care to pay the fine? I don't know how that works, but it's weird. Ooh, but that's, yeah. Aleister Crowley, man. So much. Oh, yeah. A lot we could say about him. But I always find it very interesting that the beings that Aleister Crowley communed with look very similar to gray aliens. I think it says a lot. Same reason they built it when they did. Okay, so White Plains had the same thing happening. It's funny because, again, driven by it so many times, had no idea that was a mini version of Titan Point in White Plains. I knew it was AT&T Communications, but didn't realize the capabilities of it. That's weird. There was an AT&T building in the small town I grew up in that was strangely out of place that was pretty eerie. So apparently this is a thing. So now I'm wondering, okay, we have an NSA facility at Titan Point. And because Titan Point is just known for being weird and eerie, everybody knows what's going on there. But now you wonder, all these little smaller versions of Titan Point in different areas. I'm sorry, I keep kicking my camera. I set up my tripod wrong where the leg is coming right at me under my desk. So, but you wonder, is NSA just in all these facilities? Because really, think about how easy it is to tap into that. It's weird. Just pondering that. Hi, Andrew Kennedy. So yeah, but I'll probably end it there. I'm sorry. Right as you walk in, I'm ending it. Early 90s too. It's interesting. Yeah, and I always say everything's intentional, but I mean, when you look at stuff, I don't, you really, as time goes on, you start to see that majority of things don't have innocent intentions, but I guess that's what happens when you live in a fallen world. You had the address wrong. It's 111 Main Street. Now Google Maps says it's a Verizon building. Interesting thing about that is around here, most people have either Verizon internet or Optimum internet, which I think they're still called Optimum, right? Those are the main two internets that people have. And for the most part, people tend to lean toward Verizon because Optimum is just garbage and people have so many issues with it. Interestingly, if that is handling our fiber optic internet. Okay, because yes, okay, not as many people are using landline, so NSA is going to get less out of it. Okay, a lot of people have Verizon phones, but not everybody. You have a lot more variety in cell phone providers around here. But for the most part, so many people use Verizon fiber optics internet. If it's all getting routed through that building in White Plains, how easy is it for NSA to sit in there and plug into it? And none of us would ever know because nobody ever thinks about that building. Honestly, until you brought it up, Brian, I never thought much about it. I knew what it was, but didn't think much about it. And again, and I was thinking to myself when it was an AT&T building, I'm like, okay, well, at least it's AT&T. So they're not dealing with the internet. But once you say it's Verizon, I'm like, oh, there we go. Oh, heads up. Is it Guay? Is cheap, guys. Yeah. Go buy some more hacks, everybody. Cold War fear was real, though. Sorry to be devil's advocate. Oh, no. Yeah. No, I mean, I understand there was, but early 90s, though, was kind of out of that time for the stuff still to be built. But yes, a lot of it was built during the Cold War. Yeah, it makes sense. Let's build things to withstand a nuclear blast. There were tons of nuclear bomb shelters in everybody's areas. That makes sense. But what I'm saying is like, okay, now that the Cold War fear was gone a while, so it was gone a while because now it's kind of back. But while it was gone, oh, what a cool opportunity for NSA to slide in there. Slide into the DMs. They're going to slide into these buildings because look, it's all set up. It's convenient, easy access, and nobody even thinks about these buildings. So let's just slide in there and get a little office space and then tap into everything. So I get what you're saying, Russ. Yeah. Initially when it was built, totally Cold War issues. All right. But now it's like, oh, conveniently set up for surveillance. Pull up a street view of it. Looks like a first try Titan Point. Okay, I'm going to do that. Let's see. Verizon building, Main Street, Plains. Interesting. Hold on. There's two different. What is the second one? Okay, let me just, I'm pretty sure I got the right one, but let me just bring up that address, Main Street, 111 Main Street. Okay, there we go. So, sorry guys, I'm trying to, I'll just pull up this whole thing so you can see all the pictures. Okay, so this is what the Verizon building looks like in White Plains. So Brian says it kind of looks like a first try Titan Point, which is interesting because when you look at this picture over here, it's older. I don't know when that was built, but it looks possibly to predate Titan Point. Because what was Titan Point? The 50s. So that was the late 60s. No, that was when the massive renewal. Okay, late 60s. Okay. Okay, let's say late 60s, early 70s. What would you call this? Would you call this, is this brutalism? Whatever the look is. No, it definitely looks like it can withstand. Oh yeah, look, and there's the long lines, kind of like the long lines building, right? Titan Point. And it definitely looks like it could withstand something. And I understand that there was a time period where this architecture was popular. But yeah, but it looks, besides falling into that style of architecture, this definitely looks like it was yeah, that it's made to withstand a thing. It looks like, you're right, an early test for Titan Point. Maybe they saw this and liked the way it was, and they're like, okay, let's do it with Titan Point. When was Titan Point built? I should look that up. But let me just return back to this. We need decentralized internet. Yeah, because apparently, yeah, this whole tapping into it is a little concerning. But I mean, we know our internet's not secure, but yeah, just a reminder. 33 Thomas Street, 33 for Freemasonry. Wait, where was 33 Thomas Street? Did I see 33 Thomas Street? Because this is 111 Main Street. Aren't the repeating 11s also, isn't that occultic? Because sometimes I see Christians like to do things with repeating 11s, and I'm like, there's the belief that people are like, well, you can redeem it because you do things with Christianity, but I'm like, still, I would stay away from the repeating 11s. I mean, and I don't want to fall into symbolism syndrome where you see symbols everywhere, but I'm like, yeah, I'd rather not be mimicking the occult's use of 11. Oh, Titan Point. Got you. Okay. So Titan Point is 33 Thomas Street. Okay, John. Sorry, I missed that. Okay. So yep. So very interesting. So it's interesting. So we have 30, but like, so 33, clearly a Masonic number. So that's Titan Point. And 111, you got the repeating ones, you got the 11 going. And that's what it is in White Plains. Interesting. Very odd. Like we said, I guess nothing's that innocent. Oh, thank you, human hex trafficker. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you. Titan Point construction began in 1969, and by 1979, the skyscraper was completed. Okay, and that sounds very similar to what I was seeing here. So the urban renewal for White Plains happened in the late 60s after a decade of planning. But they're only giving dates for everything else. But yeah, it was around that time. Oh, found it. Okay. Sorry guys, give me a second. But interestingly, this website does show that it's kind of has a similar look to Titan Point. All right. The Reporter's Dispatch. Okay, so late 60s. It looks to be late 60s in White Plains. So you have same time period that it's happening in. So more square footage on the upper floors makes economic sense. What? Why? Because smaller footprint and then bigger floors? Looks like an Ethernet cable end, and the windows look like jacks. Yeah, and it's funny considering that when it was made, right? I don't think Ethernet cables were a thing. I mean, clearly they weren't, but I mean, like, I don't even think like they were being used by the military in secret, as their advanced technology. Oh, you sent it to my phone. Okay, I'm gonna check my text. I'm actually using my phone right now but I'll check on my computer. Using my phone as a webcam. Yeah, and both built by Auntie. So, 111 is like a vab, like monster logo, or Tav. Yeah, I don't know enough Hebrew, but I know what you're saying. Okay, so interestingly, both AT&T, both similar times, and you got a 33 and you got a 111. Gosh, who would have thought we had that weirdness right in Westchester? And I know there's a lot of Westchester weirdness, but that kind of weirdness in Westchester. Hold on, I just wanted to check my text a moment. Oh, what the heck did I click? Okay. Thanks, Brian. You have the modern one. I don't know how to share from my hard drive yet. Or actually, it's probably easy, but I don't want to figure it out. But that was a good picture you sent. Check out Mysterious Monuments by Tex Mars. Oh gosh, that's probably good. Mysterious Monuments by Tex Mars. Hold on, I want to pull that up right now. Bye. So it's the Encyclopedia of Secret Illuminati Designs, Masonic Architecture, and Occultic Places. Occult Places. Okay, that sounds good. All right. I'm sure that'll answer a lot of things. You know, I heard somebody call, when I mentioned symbolism syndrome, I wasn't insinuating that about any of you guys, but I'm just saying like the concept of it. Because somebody did challenge me on Hex saying, well, like, why is it this many validator? You know, why are the numbers, you know, consider the numbers, is there meaning? Is there, you know, an occult meaning going on to Hex and the number of validators and this and that? And, but, you know, again, I kind of am wary in certain situations because I don't want to fall into symbolism syndrome. And I heard somebody define this. I don't think it's a well-known term or if it's just Kara Mosher's term, but like, you know, where sometimes people start to read symbolism into everything. So that's kind of sometimes the paranoia. It's like, okay, am I reading too much into it or is it legit? But I think unfortunately in the world we do live in, being in a fallen world and having all these secret societies that are calling the shots and controlling things, it is everywhere around us. And it's good to know it. It's good to be aware of it. I don't know. It's creepy, you know? So they were made to protect the control they have in the communications of all people, right? And it's funny because they present it in a way as, oh, we were protecting you guys because if something were to happen, this is so your phone lines and your internet and whatever doesn't go down. Look how good we are. Look how altruistic we are. But just like the government, you're like, nope, you're not being completely altruistic. This serves you too. And again, it comes back to control. You know, Bearded Saint is like, we need a decentralized internet. It really makes you realize how many things are centralized, how many monopolies are going on, and how much control is being held over us by these corporations and these companies. And if we can break away from them, how, I don't know what good could come out of that. You find what you were looking for everywhere if you want to. No, I agree definitely. But like, you know, things like this, it is very strange. You know, it's too much of a coincidence for Titan Point to be 33 and 111 to be the building White Plains. That's a little too strange. That's more than just looking too deeply into it. I'm like, that does seem intentional. But yeah, I think I'm gonna bail now. I'm kind of fading, but it was fun chatting with you guys about this. What do you think of the orb? You think it's a hoax? You think it's part of the psyop? I think it's part of the psyop. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's real. I don't. Yeah. Like I said, they could be hoaxing us, but I think it's real. But I think, you know, the presentation of it is part of the psyop. But oh, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you. Thank you. Yeah. And thank you to everybody in the chat. And thank you to everybody watching in the replay. I appreciate that you guys are here and had a fun time chatting with you guys. And Brian's going to be on a guest on an upcoming show. So really excited to share with you guys what we're discussing and what we're planning for the show. But yeah, thank you for being here. And, hope you have a good Sunday night and a good rest of your week. I will see you. I'm kind of like, I'm having trouble like pinning down the Book of Enoch read to Monday or Tuesday. So I've been floating between the two. Lately it's been on a Tuesday. So I'm not sure. Kind of depends the way my schedule goes. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a good week. And I guess I will see you Monday or Tuesday. And I guess haven't decided yet, you know, what I'm doing with scheduling and what I'm doing with this how many times a week, but I definitely do plan to kick it up more. So, alrighty. Well, I will see you guys. Have a wonderful night. Please like this if you haven't done it yet. Thank you to all of you who have liked it. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. I would really appreciate that. And thank you guys for all the support and the donations and wallet donations. I really appreciate all your kindnesses. And if you want any suggestions for anything, I have links in the description. I think I have a link to Unseen Realm. I keep saying I'm going to get around to watching it, but I hear so many good things. So I'm going to watch it soon. And if you guys want to watch along too, there's a link to the Unseen Realm on YouTube. Sadly, Michael Heiser is in his final days right now. But he's done a lot of good work, and I appreciate everything that he's put out there for us. And you know, we'll carry on that legacy by discussing him. And yeah, I want to talk more about him in the future and his work too. So, who won the Super Bowl? Wait, is the Super Bowl tonight? I don't even know. I don't know anything about sports. I am like completely shocked that there's an event tonight. Is that why people were wearing like a Super Bowl hat or something? I don't know. I saw people wearing a football hat. Somebody. But yeah, you guys have a good night. So thank you again. I will see you soon. And righty. Good night. I'm gonna go watch. I always seem to announce what I'm going off to watch. So I'm gonna go watch Yellow Jackets. Have you guys seen that yet on Showtime? Watched the first episode last night. I'm pretty impressed. So I'm going to continue watching that if you guys want to watch along with me. So, all right, guys. Oh, you had to check also? It's February 12th? Okay, yeah. You see, I have no clue. I don't follow sports. And not because like, I think, oh, look at the bread and circuses. Yeah, I totally believe that whole bread and circuses quote, but I like to get my circuses elsewhere than sports, So, okay, guys. Thank you again. Good night. Bye.